Hello, Serge here from the backyard driving range. I have a question today that came in from David Cassard, and David says, I have a question for Serge. Serge, you have dedicated many daily videos to the master setup position and vertical alignment, but I have not heard you address one tendency I have noticed as I set up to the ball. As the shaft gets longer, moving from a sand wedge to a driver, and the position of the ball moves from center to the forward ankle, I noticed that my rear shoulder, right in my case as a right-hander, tends to get pulled forward, which puts me into the dreaded X alignment with the shoulders open and aimed left of the target. I find I have to consciously monitor my right shoulder position and pull it backwards to get the shoulder into the proper vertical alignment with the driver. I think all this happens because the right hand is positioned below the left on the grip so as the ball moves forward, the right hand tends to pull the right shoulder forward out of alignment. Does this make sense to you? If so, do you have any advice on how to be sure I get back into proper vertical alignment with a driver? Okay. Great question. Great observations. You're correct in all of them. Okay, Dave, excellent work. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of backtracking here and talk about a few things. As you say, I talk a lot about the master setup position and vertical alignment. Okay, I'm checking my that this arrow is lined straight at the camera. Right now I can't see the camera, so it's there, parallel left. All right, the first position that Dave is talking about is what I call vertical alignment. Means that, and I've said this over and over again, that anytime I mention toe alignment, alignment is parallel left if you're a right-hander, parallel left of your aiming line, parallel right if you're a left-hander. When I talk about parallel left, I'm saying that toes, knees, hips, shoulders, and eyes all have to be parallel of those lines of the body have to be parallel left of your aiming line. That's what Dave is mentioning when he says vertical alignment. Okay, parallel left, all the points of our body. Now, what Dave is referring to about the master setup position is when we set up to the master setup position, and that is the right arm's is a little bit down and equal to or below the left arm, meaning if I touch my right hand here, it should never be above the left, because if it gets above the left arm, the forward arm, then you're in what I call back arm dominant position, bad, versus the forward arm dominant position, which is the master setup position, which is fad. I want to be fad, forward arm higher, not the back arm. But what Dave is talking about is if this is my ball position, I'm going to use this line here, and my ball is sitting right on top of that arrow right there. As I move forward, the tendency is that the club, and to get to the heel or whatever, look at how my right hand, in this case, if I started here, and as I move backwards on the ball, he's talking about the back arm getting higher into the bad position, back arm dominant, which is not good. So, yes, that happens. How do you combat it? That's what your question is. How do I combat it? Well, as I move forward, as I go from here to here, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you keep your hands there. In other words, you see that angle right there? You have to keep it there, and it doesn't matter what club you have. As you get more forward, you have to stay straight. You can't let this happen. So again, many cases, you'll always see me that when I no matter what shot I hit, I'm always going to have just square my hips up a little bit, because why? Just turning your head like this to look at the target, it gets all that network of muscles on the right side from the top of your head down through your neck into your right shoulder, down through your shoulders, your chest, your back muscles, down to your hips and your knees. Turning that head can pull all of this out of position. So you always have to come back, and you always have to try to feel and learn what the feeling is of when your shoulders are over your toes, which means your toes, knees, hips, shoulders, and eyes are all parallel left. But the key is as you walk forward, as you go from a center ball position to sort of like a driver, you just have to make sure that you keep your dominant position of the right arm below the left as you go through. So again, if I get to a driver, the ball's sitting on the end of that stick right there, it's very easy to go like this to the ball. But that's why if you address the club and you get the right arm down in this position, you just make it go this way in front of your ball. You make the triangle of your two arms, right, and your shoulders, you make the shoulders stay there, and the arms go up here and start from that position. 7-9, I'd be back here. With the driver, I'm just going to move my arms this way. I'm not going to go this way to the ball. That's what most people do. They just, as the club goes forward, they just let the shoulders open. I have to keep the shoulders square, so I'm going to go there. These two arms are going to go back and are going to move forward this way, not that way. All right? They just have to move. You have to keep this. You have to keep your shoulders over your toes and just move them this way to there. From here with a 7-iron to there with a driver. Here to there. Doesn't matter the club. Right? Here, if I move the ball up there, there it is. I'm just moving this. So in fact, in many cases, you'll feel the right side will actually come down a little bit. Now, what you got to be careful of is that you don't do the other thing now and get the right side down too much and now shut your shoulders. I mean, this is like a never-ending battle. So many things about getting the setup just right is just what it is, just right, technically excellent. It's so easy to let one thing get pulled out or in or up or down more. And that's why it's really important to consistently just pay attention and learn the feelings of your body in the right setup. And every now and then, maybe film yourself or have somebody film you and take a look at it. But you always have to be aware of all of this stuff because setup determines the motion. Anything gets out of position, the muscles are out of position, the swing's going to change. And in most cases, if it's out of position, it's not changing for the better, it's changing for the worse. And it's going to affect your ball striking and how well you hit it, how solid you hit it, and how you hit it, whether meaning might go right, left, up, down, or whatever. Okay? So this is everything in golf is just like anything in life. Whatever your job is you have to concentrate about doing all the fundamentals and everything correct to do your job correctly every single day. As soon as you start getting careless, getting in a hurry, not paying attention to details, that's when problems arise. So here, it's paying attention to details of proper setup. Technical excellence, as I like to call it. So the key now is, as I said, for one last thing, the two arms, the two sides of the triangle, we're going to call this the base, even though it's the high point. Those two will move laterally forward. You don't reach it with the back arm. They go together as the club moves forward or backwards. Okay, and whatever position you get into, the right hand, the V of the right hand, will always be at a straight line to the ball. Okay, hopefully this answers your question, and just probably the best place to practice this would be right in the mirror. Okay, and watch how you move, looking at yourself straight into a mirror. That you're moving this way, not that way, and that eventually you don't ever go too far that way. Technical excellence. Feel the setup, then feel the swing and swing and then step in with the same feel and then swing that feel, and you'll be hitting good shots. Okay. So speaking on setup determines the motion, technical excellence. That's it from the search for today, and I'll be talking with you all again soon.